PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale released almost 5 years ago now, back in November of 2012 for the PS3 and also PlayStation Vita. Prior to its release, many fans were excited for what was essentially a PlayStation version of Super Smash Bros, and although the game wasn't bad by any means, it didn't quite live up to expectations for a couple of reasons, scoring a reasonable but not perfect 74% overall on Metacritic. Aside from only being able to kill with supers, the other reason was arguably the character roster. There were many PlayStation favourites like Nathan Drake, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, and also some classic characters like Parappa and Sir Daniel Fortesque, but it was missing a lot of requested characters, which wasn't necessarily Sony's fault as there were many licensing issues at hand, but still disappointing nonetheless. Since the game's release, there have been an abundance of new series and characters that have been released on PlayStation platforms that would be great to see on a possible sequel that, provided they change some elements, could have some great potential. And although a PlayStation All-Stars 2 may never happen, I would love to see one, and I don't think I'm alone in that. So let's look at what characters could be added for a sequel, starting with those that Sony would find easy to add to the game due to owning the rights to them. Aloy from the recently released and critically acclaimed Horizon Zero Dawn would be a great and essential addition. Horizon is now one of PlayStation's biggest series, despite only releasing this year, and Aloy would be a fantastic character that would work close up with her spear, but also at a longer range for her bow and arrow, giving her some diversity in her playstyle. Next is Knack. Knack wasn't held in the highest of regards when it released, but it's receiving a sequel soon, and the character would make for a unique addition, not just aesthetically, but also in terms of his ability to change size, that would make for a character that would be quite different from others in the series, with the possibility of being faster while small, but stronger while bigger, and on the player some choice of how he plays when the situation demands. The third is Delson Rider from infamous Second Son, who would ideally replace Evil Cole, who felt like a rather copy and paste character considering there was already one Cole in the game. Delson is another great character to have in a sequel due to his ability to use different conduit powers. He could have the ability to switch between using the different powers at will with alternate movesets, or have a single moveset that utilised a different power for a different attack. A PlayStation All-Star sequel wouldn't be complete without Joel or Ellie from The Last of Us making an appearance. They could go down two routes, having purely just Joel or Ellie playable, or having both together as one character in the same way that Ice Climbers were from Smash Bros, although I'm not sure how well that would work, despite liking the idea of them being a duo and sticking together like they did in the game. For the fifth character, we have Iota from Tearaway, who had a release on the PS Vita and PS4. Iota is a unique looking character that could be really fun to play as, with various attacks that revolve around paper or even the player itself. Some implementation of a super attack that used a touchpad where you would draw a design of some kind would be awesome to see as a nod to the game, where you'd often draw various shapes. This following character is quite a contrast from the last, a hunter from the game Bloodborne. Bloodborne was one of the biggest PlayStation exclusives of 2015, and it would be awesome to see a more gritty character make an appearance. The hunter could have a moveset that utilised some of the iconic weapons you would find in the game, along with the ability to transform them. Alternatively, they could also choose a specific NPC as a character instead, like Eileen the Crow. Now let's look at some characters that would be a little harder to add due to Sony needing to acquire the rights, but certainly plausible choices. The first being Crash Bandicoot, probably the most requested character that didn't make it into the original game. Sony worked very closely with Activision these days, releasing a remaster of the original trilogy exclusively, at least as it stands at the moment, on the PS4. Crash has also appeared in Skylanders, showing Activision are quite open to him being in other series, and having a character that was practically a mascot for PlayStation during the PS1 days makes Crash an obvious pick for All-Stars. The next is Spyro, another much requested character. Activision also own the rights to Spyro as they do Crash, but as I've said, Activision have worked with Sony a lot in recent years, so Spyro is definitely a realistic character that could be added. His main attacks would be breathing fire and charging like in the core original series, and feature his original design as opposed to ones from later titles that aren't as iconic or loved. Yet another heavily sought after character for the original, Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII was one of the best JRPGs to grace the PS1, and Cloud has remained a fan favourite for many in the series for a long time. Cloud was added into Super Smash Bros as a guest character that worked really well, and with the Final Fantasy VII remake coming to PS4 as a timed exclusive, adding him into All-Stars seems like a really natural fit. Persona 5 released exclusively on the PS3 and PS4 and is arguably the best JRPG this year, receiving fantastic reviews and is also one of the most artistically stylized games I've seen in a long time. The protagonist, who also goes by the name of Joker in Dungeons, could play very much like the characters in Persona 4 Arena do, using his standard weapon and also his persona, Arson, during certain moves and combos. He could potentially use his pistol as well for a low damage long range attack. Okay, so this next one is the second Final Fantasy character, but I would love to see one added from the latest game in the series, as well as Cloud, who would be considered more retro. Having Noctis in there with some kind of utilisation of his warp ability that he uses plenty in 15 would be fun to see if done right and provided it wasn't overpowered, along with being able to change his weapons mid-combo. Another Square Enix character, Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Sora would of course use his iconic Keyblade, but could also potentially use many of the Keyblade transformations that have been added into Kingdom Hearts 3. Temporarily being able to call upon many of the Disney summons as well for certain moves would make him different from other sword wielding characters and help to make Sora feel like a unique character to the series. Lastly is a character that isn't an obvious choice but would be an interesting addition, a Destiny Guardian. PlayStation always has exclusive Destiny content and is often seen as the best console to play the game on, so a Guardian seems like a good fit. Although it might be difficult to implement, having the choice between the three types, Hunter, Warlock and Titan, with slightly different moves would be great to have. The character could also have a ghost like in the series that would commentate during the battle to the player. So would you be interested in seeing a sequel to PlayStation All-Stars, and if so, what other characters would you like to see that I haven't mentioned? I'd be interested to hear. There are plenty of other choices out there and certainly some I've missed out. That's it for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and sub and follow Project Gamer on Twitter for channel updates. Click the thumbnail on the left or right for another of my videos. Thanks for watching as usual, and I'll see you on the next video.